Which comes to another thing, which is the cultural thing, which somebody asked a question, and I want to connect this to this, which is Anirudh Agnihotri asked a question: why some Indian movies perform so well in China? What cultural relatability do they have with these movies? And this
Great
is
question.
connected to the fact that I didn't know till I read your book that Bollywood's biggest
Aamir
external
Khan.
market is China. I had no
Yeah.
idea about that.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is so. It's a good question. Even I don't like what is it that they're looking for, or is it just the song and dance which is appealing, or what is the story?
Yeah,
No, it's Aamir Khan.
it is Amir Khan. I think a lot of it is Amir Khan. And I think that I was shocked to find that I think Dangal and Secret Superstar, they both made more than 1,000 crores in China. And I think they
Yeah.
made more in China.
Wow.
I should check, but I think Dangal may have made
Made
more
more
in
in China
China.
than it did in India.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, it did.
And that's because of the fact that they have so many multiplexes there. I think there are a lot of themes that work. I think one reason is because they don't find a lot of these socially inspiring themes from Chinese directors, um, that as much as they would like. I think they find that, I mean, there are great movies coming from Chinese directors, some of which don't make it to the big screen only because there limits. The government wants positive themed movies always to make it to the screens. So a lot of these movies, even if they have positive themes, they do, like many of his movies do, cast a very sort of sharp light on problems in society, right? And I think that's why people really like Dangal, in terms of the fact that I think it related to a lot of women in China and girls in China. That the fact that even if on many levels, I think women in China are much more empowered than they are in India on every statistic that you see, in terms of whether it's labor force participation or education or income. But I think there's still so many sort of historical prejudices that continue, and that's why Dangal was so successful. That so many people tell me they watched it multiple times. And in the book, one of the people in my portraits, besides the cricketer, I profile the president of the Aamir Khan fan club in China. This girl who started this, she started on her own, and I think now it has like 100,000 members, and they're all over China, and they have different branches and things like that. So I think part of it is an Amir Khan phenomenon where I asked her, is it something about Bollywood? But she told me what you said. She said it's more about him. But just because I may like one Hong Kong actor doesn't mean I like all of Hong Kong cinema, right?
Yeah.
But I think some of the others have found it tough. I think Amir Khan has also invested in China. He's been visiting every year. He has an account on Chinese social media. So he's been quite smart in reaching out to them.
No, and it's not just that also, right? Like from just the Bollywood lens, what he does is he makes sure that he dubs it with the finest actors there.
Yes, yeah.
He doesn't just do like a like it, he doesn't just put like random voices onto a thing. He will actually think, and those guys are voice actors, so they're acting the dubbing scene rather than things like that. He invests in the production there. He puts money into shooting, trying to shoot things there, and doing a lot of like appearances there and things like that. But it is Aamir in that sense. I mean, Chandni Chowk to China didn't do well there, so I'm saying it is Aamir.
But I think
So
there's a trend of socially important themes do well. Like I think English did well. I think that a couple of other movies that had education themes did well. But then like Doom 2 and Doom 3 kind of sank without a trace. So
But
they
the
have
other one,
taste.
no,
Have, yeah.
Doom, but the Doom series, for example, didn't have Aamir. But if you look at that disaster, which was Pirates of the Caribbean with Aamir Khan and Amitabh Bachchan, I forgot the name of it.
Thugs of Hindustan.
Thugs of Hindustan. Thugs did pretty well in China. Now
Really?
that's an Aamir Khan thing. It pretty well. I'm not saying it broke box office records, but it did pretty well in China. So I'm saying it's about recovering your money. Now, for example, Shah Rukh is really big in countries outside of China. He's also the second biggest in China. So in that sense, there is Bollywood's biggest export is China. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. But it's quite interesting to know that it's essentially one dude who's made it happen, right? Like even like when you're talking about which I thought was an
Raj Kapoor made it in Russia when Raj Kapoor was there. Russia.
But he made the same initiative.
Same impact.
He attempted, yeah. But he worked at it. It didn't happen overnight.
Absolutely.
He worked at it, much like Aamir Khan. But what I thought it was interesting, Ananth, about this book was that when you said the exchange of like the FDIs, the amount China is investing in India and vice versa, whatever the attempts are being made, you literally said that it's not because of the governments, it's just because of individuals and companies. which I thought was so interesting because you would assume that there was some impact with like Xi and Modi or something like that, but it just happened. Is
Yeah,
it?
I think they would like to claim it, but I think a lot of the stuff that, for example, Alibaba and Tencent's investments, which are the two biggest companies investing, I think it was part of them wanting to invest in tech in emerging markets. So it was stuff that they did of their own. And I think even Xiaomi's success in India was not something that the government wanted particularly; it just kind of happened. But I think now the government role is kind of putting an end to this. I think throughout last year, I think India has become a little concerned about this kind of money coming in. So they amended the FDI rules in April last year, and I
Yeah.
think there is a little bit of a slowing down now. But you're right in the sense that I think a lot of this happened with the Chinese private sector, or I should say private sector in quotes, because kind of a private sector with an asterisk. But I think most of it came via them.
We should just call it P sector because it could be party or people. So it's fine.
So, like in China, they call it for NGOs are there. There's a term called gongos, GONGO, which is like government operated
Operated
non-governmental
government
organization. So
organizations.
there should be like an equivalent of that, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Like I like so I like government then more than NGO because that like where the money is going directly. Okay.